Tim. How's it going? So when it comes to procrastination, I've been hearing, like, getting so many DMs from you guys because this is like the real epidemic here. Okay. Well, one of them, procrastination. So many people set goals, have plans, but then they miss the crucial step. And this has been a message that I've been giving over and over and over and over. And that's just planning. Okay. This is the big step, the action, like starting the action, like taking the first step is the hardest step. Like picture a baby learning how to walk. Okay. Once they get that first step, like so painful. And then within like a week, they're like running all over the place. Okay. You and whatever you're going after is the exact same way. You're no different than a baby learning how to walk. I know. We like to think we're so sophisticated. Okay. But you're no different. And what's happening is you're having just a hard time taking that first step. And the reason we have a hard time taking the first step is because of planning. Okay. The process of planning itself becomes a trigger for procrastination. It's like we're planning our procrastination. Okay. So procrastination then becomes a cycle. So we've kind of been talking about that. So the cycle refers to us delaying, avoiding, like even just concentrating on creating a plan, despite having a clear, open mind. Okay. And then that just perpetuates and manifests more like reluctance in starting to do anything. And then fear creeps in and overwhelm and perfectionism and like all the things, right? That's why it happens. We plan to procrastinate. A lot of the time, it's fear of failure. Like we procrastinate when we even think about outlining a detailed plan. And we just hesitate due to fear of making a mistake, fear of what other people are going to think of them, fear of not meeting their own expectations. Also perfectionism, right? This is what helps us procrastinate or like creating a plan too. Because we feel the pressure to create this like flawlessness, again, leading us to delay what the next step is. A big thing that I'm hearing from a lot of you is I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. Okay. The sheer scope of planning out a process is overwhelming, particularly if it's like that big goal that I'm always talking about, not like the little ones that aren't inspiring. Those for sure you will procrastinate, for sure. Breaking down the goal into actionable steps and then making a comprehensive plan, it requires time and effort. Some of you are like, I don't have time. Well, really, like, do you have time not to do this? Like, this is your life. And so many people want to change the circumstances of their life, but they're not willing to put in the effort to do that. Coming up with a plan, just coming up with the plan is going to take some effort. So are you willing to do that? I know you're able. Are you willing? My recommendation to you would be, honestly, just start small. Just even break down the planning process into small bite-sized pieces. Begin with identifying, okay, what's the first step? What's the next step? But start small. And then in the process, like don't set expectations for yourself. Just honor your commitment to do it. Like say to yourself, I do what I say I'm going to do. I affirm that to myself every day because my habitual way of doing things, Linda, she likes to procrastinate. But I say to myself over and over again, I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm reliable. I'm reliable for others, and I'm reliable for myself. And that's nipped procrastination right in the behind. Okay? On your journey through doing it, focus on the progress and celebrate the crap out of it. Not perfection. This is not what you're going for. You got to shift your mindset away from aiming for perfection and focus just purely on moving forward. And really don't get attached to the plan, because it needs to also be flexible. Okay. I find it really effective. And I'm going to use a really big example of something that I planned out that people were like, I have no freaking clue how you just did that. Okay. All while doing all the things. Okay. Because there was like zero excuses. Is time boxing. Like setting aside dedicated times. Okay. So my example for you is when we decided to sell everything in Canada, move to Barbados. Okay. So this happened. It was actually, we made the decision to do it 2 years ago, right now. It was around this time. Within 10 days, we sold our house. We had our house here in Barbados. We were getting ready for the kids in school, and we were moving. Our house was closing at the beginning of July. Okay. Or end of June-ish. Okay. Let's say end of June. And so I knew it was February 1st. And I knew, so that's where I am. Okay, you got to know, where am I right now? Okay, so it's February 1st. I knew it was February 1st. I knew my house was closing, my 5-bedroom house that we had been living in for over a decade, okay, was closing June 29th. Okay, so I had February, March, April, May, June, 5 months and I wasn't bringing everything to Barbados, to clear out, sell, not just start throwing a bunch of crap in a box. You know, when you move houses, are you just throwing stuff in boxes? I wasn't interested in that. And at this point here, I'm thinking I'm pretty much a minimalist, right? Not so much. Okay. There were like the secret hiding spots for all the things. So all I did, you guys, like this seems like a really big feat. All while I'm also growing my business. I have 2 little kids. Life is happening. They're doing their thing. I'm doing my thing, right? Like life is still happening. Okay. And all I did was I time chunked it out. I came up with a plan. I said, okay, so if I have 5 months, that's like 20 weekends ish. Okay. Let's say I had 20 weekends. And already, because this was like a not necessarily planned thing, right? 5 of those weekends were already full. We had weddings, stuff already planned. Okay. So I had 15 weekends. And all I did was I was like, okay, every single weekend, all those 15 weekends, I'm going to take every Saturday, Sunday, and I'm going to put away everything else. And I'm going to focus on clearing out, packing, selling. And then it was just like, okay, so if I want to have a yard sale leading up to this, so I want to have a yard sale at the end of May and then maybe the middle of June to like clear out everything. Okay. So that means that really I have to have all my things in place by this date. And I just worked backwards. If you're a parent, you've done this before. Okay. You've done this before. You know what this looks like. And it looks like you taking the plan and then working backwards. Okay. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you said, you know, we're going camping next weekend, what needs to be done? We're now here. What needs to be done between now and next weekend in order for it to be a successful camping trip? Okay. I did the same thing, took my 5-bedroom house, fit it into a small sea can, and that was it. I just worked my way backwards. And there was no procrastinating. There was no putting it on hold because I had to do it. But are you in the habit are you in the habit of like giving yourself permission to let yourself off the hook? Right? Like you don't give yourself a deadline. Obviously, other people were moving into my house, so I had to get it done. But even for me, even if I don't have like someone else depending on me for something, I make a date with myself and I'm like, it's happening because I do what I say I'm going to do. Because it's not up to someone else to motivate me to get it done. It's up to me to motivate me. And I put up every barrier, every boundary, anything needed in order to get the project done. And I give myself, I never give myself too long a time. I have a book launching soon. Decided 9 months ago that I was going to write a book. And I found my editor and he was like, oh, okay, so you're going to take the next year to write the book. I said, no, I'm going to take 6 months. And this is what the book's going to look like because it's already in me. Just need to like get it out. And I set time aside, writing time. And you can bet there was always other things that I should be doing other than like sitting there and writing, but I didn't let myself. And I got the book done in 6 months. And it was like the most fun project ever. And I can say when we moved to Barbados, there wasn't one, when I unpacked when we got here, there wasn't one box just filled with like all the crap that you're not really sure what to do with. Because I had this amount of time to do a big job, but I told myself that I do what I say I'm going to do. And you can do the exact same thing. You can do the exact same thing. And it can be the most brilliant experience of your life. You're doing it now. You're just doing it for things that aren't going to change your life. Right? Like the camping trip you're planning isn't going to change your life, but you plan it. The having company over next weekend for supper and you plan out the entire event, it's not going to change your life, but you do it, right? Like you plan all the time. You're just putting off planning this goal because it's foreign to you. You've never done it before. You've never done anything to this caliber before. Until now. Don't let ineffective planning stand between you and what you're doing. Get a plan and tell yourself, I do what I say I'm going to do. Deal? Awesome.